Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for a birthday book haul. So I don't actually think I've done a birthday book haul, dedicated birthday book haul on my channel for years now, but I actually received quite a few books from friends, family and subscribers, and it was so incredibly thoughtful and meaningful. I think a lot of us are struggling with birthdays come this time of year now, since it's been a year. Since it's the second time in a row that we've not been able to really spend our birthdays with all of the people we love in one place, which is something I definitely struggled with this year, because generally speaking, big occasions, happy occasions, celebratory occasions have this sense of sadness for me ever since my dad died, because I miss him so much and wish he could be there. And then just not having seen my friends in over a year was really hard hitting, I felt, when it was my birthday, more than it had been. I don't know, it all culminated and I got so emotional, and every single happy birthday I received online, in the post, over text, on Instagram, on YouTube, just brought me to the verge of tears, but in the best possible way. I was so grateful for all of it, and it made me feel a little bit less alone. So despite the ups and downs of the day itself, I think that that was just such a special and wonderful thing, and I am so grateful to have received, like I said, a bunch of books, so I really wanted to share them with you. But as I'm sure the title indicates, this is more than just a simple book haul, because I asked on Instagram if when I did my birthday book haul you'd also like to see the board games I got for my birthday, and it was a pretty unanimous yes, you know, sort of 90% for on the poll. And if you don't know, I'm actually super duper into board games, to the point where my boyfriend and I actually started a Instagram account specifically dedicated to reviewing board games a few months ago, called Just a Couple of Meeples, which you might not have seen if you don't follow me on Instagram, because that's really the only place I've talked about it. But given the response that both that Instagram account has received, as well as just the poll I put up about this haul, I gather that a lot of you are also into board games. So I am going to be sharing the board games I received for my birthday in the second half of this haul, just in case some of you don't want to see them and want to click off before that comes and just hang around for the books. Books first, then board games. So without further ado, let's get into the books. First up is one in particular that made me giggle, because it's Quiet in Her Bones by Nalini Singh, and this was a gift from my wonderful friend Leanne, who is also here on BookTube at Literary Diversions. I'll link her down below. And the reason this made me laugh is because it was Leanne's birthday just over a week ago, and I actually sent her a copy of A Madness of Sunshine by Nalini Singh for her birthday. She's super duper into thrillers, and I get a lot of thriller recommendations from her, but she hadn't read that one, so I felt like, yes, I could recommend Leanne a thriller she hasn't read yet and I really enjoyed. So she then took the opportunity to send me Nalini Singh's other thriller in the post for my birthday, which, like I said, it just made me laugh. I thought it was really fun and thoughtful, and I'm super duper excited because, as you can probably gather, I loved the other book I read by this author, A Madness of Sunshine, one of my favourite thrillers I've read in a long time. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved the New Zealand landscape and the detail it was written in, so I was also super excited when I realised this is also set in New Zealand. It's about a socialite, Nina Ray, who disappeared without a trace along with $250,000. Naturally, everyone just assumed that she had run away and abandoned her husband, but when her bones turn up, it leads to an investigation around what really happened. I then have a gift from a very beloved family friend, Annie, who has actually gifted me a few books in the past that I've never heard of but ended up adoring. She has an excellent track record with recommending me books, so I'm super excited to have another book that I've never heard of but that Annie has recommended to me on my shelves, and that's The Pear Field. This one was originally written in Georgian and has been translated by Elizabeth Highway, and I don't think I've ever read a book translated from Georgian, so that should be really interesting in itself. But let me read you the back. It says that Layla knows two things. Her history teacher must die, and she must start a new life beyond the Pear Field. In a newly independent Georgia is the residential school for intellectually disabled children, or as the locals call it, the school for idiots. Abandoned by their parents, the pupils here receive lessons in violence and neglect. At 18, Layla is old enough to leave, but with nowhere to go, she stays and plans both for her own escape and for the future she hopes to give Irakli, a young boy at the school. When a couple from the USA decide they want to adopt a child, Layla is determined to do everything she can to help Irakli make the most of his chance. Like I said, I'm excited alone because this comes as a recommendation from Annie, but that opening sentence is also incredibly intriguing. I then received quite a few books as gifts from subscribers, which I was not expecting, and I'm so incredibly honoured and emotionally overwhelmed, but in the best possible way by. It was so thoughtful of all of you, and I'm so incredibly grateful. I cannot wait to read the books that you've picked because they all sound brilliant. These first two here are gifts from Emily, and she has read both of these books and they come highly recommended by her, so she thinks that I will like them. And they're both very different, but both books I was super intrigued to read anyway. The first one is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, which is a fantasy novel. All I know is that this one is about Kelsey, who is being forced to inherit a kingdom. She doesn't necessarily want to rule this kingdom, which is pretty decrepit and falling down around her, but she has been forced to do so. So it's all about that and the trials and tribulations of that, from what I understand. It's the first of a series that I've just heard absolutely amazing things about. And then we have In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park, which is subtitled A North Korean Girl's Journey to Freedom. So this is a non-fiction book about the author's experience of defecting from North Korea, and again, I've just heard such incredible things about this book and have been meaning to read some more non-fiction on this topic for a while. Then from Frances, I was very kindly sent for my birthday Sisters of the Vast Black by Lena Rather. This is a sci-fi novella that I have been interested in picking up for a while, so I'm looking forward to reading now that I have my hands on it. It's published by Tor, who are my go-to publishing house for discovering new SFF authors, particularly in the sci-fi genre, because I'm quite particular when it comes to my sci-fi, and I've had a really good track record with them in the past. And all I know about this one is about a group of intergalactic, futuristic nuns in space, so why wouldn't I want to read that? Then from Cindy, we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, which has to be a book that I have heard nothing but praise for, and I'm super excited to read because of that. Honestly, I cannot count the number of people who I have seen recommend this generally and also had recommended to me specifically. I believe it is middle grade and it's meant to be just so magical and otherworldly and transportive and comforting and cheerful and engaging, and for that I am so grateful that Cindy sent it to me because it sounds like exactly what I need. It's about Linus Baker, who is a by-the-book caseworker in the department in charge of magical youth. At 40 he lives in a tiny house with a devious cat and his old records for company. But his quiet life is about to change. Linus is summoned by extremely upper management and given a curious and highly classified assignment: travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous magical children are so dangerous, in fact, that they are likely to bring about the end of days. This is also published by Tor, which I literally didn't notice until now, but I mean, that's just another plus in its favour, isn't it? On the same day I received Cindy's package, I actually also received another parcel with 4 books in it, but there was no note, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or they were perhaps say from Cindy and they just came in a separate package but it wasn't labelled, or the person's note just got lost. So do let me know if you sent me these, if you feel comfortable sharing that information with me, because I'd love to say thank you, but if I can't say thank you in person, then thank you so much here, because this is such an exciting collection of books. I cannot tell you how excited I am about these. The first one is one I've actually already read, and it is The Mysterious Howling by Mary Rose Wood, which is book 1 in the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place series. Now this is probably my favourite middle grade series of all time. I've been reading the books voraciously over the past year, and I first read book 1 on Scribd, so I didn't have a physical copy, and I've been meaning to pick up a physical copy because I know I'm going to want to reread it, and now I have one, so I'm so thrilled that I do, and I'm so grateful to whoever sent this to me. We then have the last 2 books that I was missing in my Jane Austen Vintage Classics collection. So Vintage published Jane Austen's full range of novels in these beautiful editions, each with a different design on the front, and I own 4 out of the 6. Well, now I own 6 out of the 6, but until a few days ago I only owned 4. And I now have also got Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice. So I am just, again, thrilled to have the complete collection, and these are actually the 2 that I haven't read yet, so we'll be really excited to finally read them. Then lastly in that package was Why God is a Woman by Nin Andrews, which is a collection of poems. I'm pretty certain I put this on my wish list because Jen recommended it. Jen is usually my go-to poetry recommendation source. I will link her channel down below. But I'm particularly excited to have a copy now because I've been trying my hardest to find new favourite poems over the past few months, or new favourite poets over the past few months. So maybe this will be one. Then lastly, for bookish gifts, I was sent these two books here by Zoe, who picked them because they had sort of dark, creepy mystery themes, and that is exactly what I've been reading a lot of at the moment. She also mentioned that she was picking up copies for herself, so I hope we both love them, Zoe. First up is Things We Lost in the Fire by Mariana Enriquez, and this is actually a collection of short stories. The opening sentence is 12 stories of ghosts, demons and wild women, of sharp-toothed children and stolen skulls. Perfection. Creepy short stories? Yes please, exactly what I want right now. Plus this is an author who I've been meaning to read. And then similarly actually, another author that I've sort of been meaning to read for quite a while is Deborah K. Davies, and this is Reasons She Goes to the Woods. Again, this one I put on my wish list a little while ago, so it's difficult to remember who recommended it, but I've got a funny feeling it was maybe Mercedes, or at least it was on her channel. I saw it hauled. This is about Pearl, who can be very, very good. More often though, she's very, very bad, but she's just a child, a mystery to all who know her, a little girl who has her own secret reasons for escaping to the nearby woods. What might those reasons be? And how can she feel so at home in the dark, sinister Central Woods, a wonder of secrets and mystery? Told in vignettes across Pearl's childhood years, Reasons She Goes to the Woods is a nervy and lyrical novel about a girl growing up and trying to be normal, even though she doesn't know quite what normal is. Love the sound of that. Also, love this cover. So those were all the books I was sent as gifts, and I am just so excited for all of them and so grateful that anyone would think to send me a book they thought I would like, so thank you so much if you did. And now I'm going to show you the board games I mentioned earlier, so feel free to go about your day if you're not interested in board games, but do stick around if you are. First up, since I did just mention my friend Jen, she actually sent me The Castles of Burgundy, which is a board game she's been telling me about for quite some time now. She absolutely adores this and thought I would as well. She was 100% right. My boyfriend and I actually played this 3 times in the space of 2 days after I opened it. It is so brilliant. I absolutely love it. If you're into board games, for me it is a combination of Ganz Clever and Wingspan. It's not thematically similar, but in terms of gameplay style it is, and throughout this you're sort of building up your duchy through acquiring different like buildings and resources and gaining victory points. My boyfriend and I will be posting a review of this one on our Instagram account very soon, so if you are interested that will be linked down below. But yes, absolutely loving this. Then one I had actually previously played quite a few times but never owned is Linky. So this was sent to me by my wonderful friend Jess, who actually owns a copy of this herself and bought it because another one of our friends, Ailsa, owns a copy, so Ailsa got us into it. Jess ended up getting her own box, and now I have my own box because we all loved playing it together back in London when we could obviously gather, and I cannot wait for the days when I can have my friends round again and we can all play Linky together, because this is such a fun party game for a small or large group. It's all about answering questions, but then more importantly finding the link between the answers to those questions, therefore the name Linky. Then my mum very kindly gifted me a copy of Corinth, which, I mean, is it any surprise I would love this board game? I am particularly drawn to board games inspired by antiquity and mythology and Greece and Rome, so of course, yeah, a board game on Corinth I was going to be super excited about, and I have actually played this a couple of times already, and it's a really fast, fun game. I say board game, but it's actually a dice game, so it is a game that involves rolling a selection of dice and ticking off things on your score sheet, which generally speaking I'm a really big fan of, so it's nice to have one in this theme. I then have a board game which my boyfriend picked out for me, and that is Glasgow for 2 players. I do really enjoy when you get board games specifically for 2 players, because more often than not I am playing board games in 2-player situations, so it's nice to have some that are specifically designed for that. And this is all about being a merchant in, is it 1800s? Glasgow? No, it's the 1700s. So it's set in 18th century Glasgow, and it's you being a merchant in Glasgow and trying to be the most successful merchant. But of course, I just kind of love the Scottish theme of it, even though I'm from Edinburgh. So yeah, this one is great fun. They're not exactly a board game, but within the same realms is a jigsaw puzzle. And this is The World of Sherlock Holmes, a jigsaw puzzle by Doug John Miller. This was a gift from another very, very good family friend, Linda, who is like an aunt to me. And of course I was going to love this one. I love myself a jigsaw. I find them incredibly meditative, and I'm also super obsessed with Sherlock Holmes. There's no denying it. Sherlock Holmes is one of my favourite things in the whole entire world. So to have a Sherlock Holmes jigsaw puzzle is something incredibly exciting to me. Plus, once you make this jigsaw puzzle, it's a little bit like Where's Wally, and you have to find the Sherlock Holmes characters dotted throughout the scene, which I enjoy. I like when there's a little added element like that to the puzzle. My mum actually bought me a tiny little puzzle as well, which is this double-sided one of a cat, and it's just a cat on both sides. It's from the brand Talking Tables, and it is only 100 pieces, so it's a more light-hearted, like quick jigsaw puzzle than a 1,000-piece one like this, but both are very much appreciated. So those are both the books and the board games that I was gifted for my birthday, and I'm super excited to read and play if I haven't already. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who both sent me a gift but also just wished me a happy birthday. It was so incredibly thoughtful of you, and it meant the world. And with that said, thank you so much for watching, happy reading, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye everyone.